J.A. Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm live. I'm in the studio, so you know what to do by now. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Hit that like button and let us know what you think about all the latest Manchester United news. We're going to be getting into it. We're going to be talking about what's happening with some of our players who featured predominantly in the World Cup. When are they heading back? We'll also have a transfer update, as well as Marcus Rashford being a bit unhappy with certain stories being posted online about him. And he's sort of not fired shots, but said, hang on a minute, that's not true, which I'm all about. If players want to say, you know what, that story's nonsense, fake news, as a certain ex-United president would say, United States president would say. So, yeah, why not? So let us know what you think about all those stories this morning, because football is almost here. We're almost at the time when we're seeing proper football. Never mind all that World Cup nonsense. The Carabao Cup tomorrow night against Burnley. That is where it is happening. People already in the chat. Ed says you're 10 seconds late. That's a fine. Apologies. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I've let myself down and the channel down. Josh Chambers says, Jay back. What? You started drinking already, Josh? Cheesy Gully Side, it says, morning, Jay, from Jamaica. Magsy said, what happened to the Adidas boycott? Yeah, I didn't get a memo about that one, I'm not going to lie to you. Should we get into some of these stories anyway? First of all, there's this one with Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford did a tweet earlier on today. I think it was earlier on today. No, it wasn't. It was the 18th, so it was a little while ago. He was saying about, can we please stop making up these stories? This has been picked up by a few people. So there was a story that went out on one of the Twitter accounts of a United account that covers news and stuff, talking about Marcus Rashford being offered, I think it was a 400k deal or whatever. So he's called that out. He was saying, you know what, can we just stop making up stories? There was another one as well that I saw doing the rounds of a bit of fake news. There was it Gary Neville, I think, had posted once a little while ago about, papers making up stories about him as well, and he called it out. So, players or ex-players aren't afraid to sort of take to social media when they need to, and just call out some of the stories that they don't that aren't true. We saw it with Paul Pogba when he was at United. There was a story doing the rounds, wasn't there, about him not wanting to play for the French national team or something, and being upset there, and he called that out. I think the only sort of issue with this is when you don't call out other stories, people go, well, that must be true because he's not called it out. And that's where you have to sort of be careful, because you get into that thing, well, people go, oh, well, it must be true, because otherwise, in the past, he's called out a story when it's fake. If it isn't fake, then, if it is fake, why hasn't he said anything about it? But listen, players have got a platform. They can use it. Marcus Rashford isn't afraid to use his platform for all sorts of things. We've seen him using it to feed starving kids. So if he wants to use it to call out people that are saying things are not true, more power to him. Should we move up? Should we go on to a Frenkie de Jong story, because we've not had a Frenkie de Jong story for about, 20 hours. It seems here now, Manchester United, this is a story doing the rounds. This is from, I think we got it from Barca News. It says, Manchester United make fresh contacts with Barcelona midfielder, a report. So it's saying, and we sort of covered this yesterday, that United haven't given up on signing Frenkie de Jong. There's still hope here for United to make this move happen. January isn't looking likely. You can see there, it says the Red Devils understand that January move for the player will be next to impossible. However, they are hoping to lure the midfielder at the end of the season, with John Murtough meeting Barca officials earlier this season to establish relations. Now, we know Frenkie de Jong is sort of top of Erik ten Hag's wish list. He's been a transfer target ever since Erik ten Hag arrived at Manchester United. It almost looked like it was going to happen in the summer. United and Barcelona apparently agreed a fee. I think it was around 70 million, rising up to maybe 85 million, depending on incentives and stuff like that. But the sticking point was this money that Frenkie de Jong was owed. He was owed about 70 million quid, I think, in deferred wages, and he wasn't willing to walk away from that. And that seemed to be the issue. That seemed to be the point where it stopped the deal from happening, basically. So we moved on, and obviously we went and we've got, during the summer we bought Casemiro, we got Christian Eriksen in midfield as well, so it's not like we're short of midfielders. However, Frenkie de Jong remains a big target for Erik ten Hag, so it looks like Manchester United could go back in the summer. Obviously, as Santa Not says, yay, Frenkie saga could overrun the Sancho one. It could do. Sancho went on for a couple of seasons. Frenkie de Jong could go on for a couple of seasons. A lot depends on the transfer budget as well for Manchester United in the summer. You'd expect loads of money to be spent. We could, or we should have new owners by then if certain plans, were put in place. There was sort of one that the owners, the Glazers, want to sell by the first quarter of 2023. So that would be obviously before the summer. So if you have got a new owner in and he's looking to spend the cash, or they're looking to spend the cash, then maybe Frenkie de Jong won't be an issue. Will he come to Manchester United? I think he will. There's always been this sort of question mark of whether Frenkie de Jong actually wants to come to Manchester United. But if he's got a relationship there with Erik ten Hag, surely he could have just said to him straight away, I don't want to come to United. It's not for me. I'm not interested. And that would have ended it all. But it's not ended. It's still ongoing. So that makes me feel like the player is open to a move to Manchester United. Obviously, he's still at Barcelona and he stayed there. And, you can argue about whether he ever wanted to leave there in the summer. But I don't think there's a case of he will never leave Barcelona. And if Barcelona are looking to sell him, then Manchester United could be the place for him. You can see there's a link in the chat there. It says tickets to our December 30th live show from Dublin. We're going to be in Dublin on the 30th of December. Me, McCullough, Joe Smith, Stephen Howson, and Brian McClare. United legend Brian McClare is going to be there as well. It's going to be a real laugh. If you can get down to Dublin on the 30th of December, there's a link in the chat. Please come and join us. It's our first ever live event as Stretford Paddock. We appreciate your support and we're looking forward to having that event and having a good laugh. So yeah, if you can get over to Dublin for the 30th, check out that link and please try and get down. The thing with Frenkie de Jong is you just get a bit fatigued with it all, don't you? It's been going on for that long. You think, oh, God, another Frenkie de Jong story. He's a class midfielder. You can see that. You saw it in the World Cup. You've seen it for Barcelona. You saw it at Ajax. There's no doubt he could do a job at Manchester United. It just gets to that point where you go, for me personally, I'd love to see him at United, but I'm just sick of sort of repeating the same stories or reading the same stories, and there's not really any movement. And according to the latest reports, there isn't going to be any movement until at least the summer. So I don't see Frenkie de Jong coming in January. In terms of other players, in terms of outgoings, Diogo Dalot. Now, this is a player who's been linked with a move away from United for the last few months, to be honest with you. There's lots of players, lots of teams that are currently sort of meant to be interested in him. There was talk of Barcelona being in for him, talking about Barcelona. But also, it looks like Juve could be one of his suitors. It says here, and this has come from, I think Sports Witness have got it, and it's originally from Gazzetta dello Sport, saying that Allegri wanted to sign him. It says here, you can just say it says because his contract, just start from the top. It says Manchester United player remains the dream for manager Ten Hag. Unlikely though to sanction the sale because Diogo Dalot's contract at Manchester United currently ends in June 2023. There has been a lot of talk about him potentially leaving on a 3. United do have an option to extend it by a year, which they are more than likely to do. Meaning clubs who want to sign the Portuguese will have to negotiate with the Premier League side. I don't think Diogo Dalot will be sold personally. I'm not ITK by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's been a regular. Well, I know he's been a regular under Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag obviously likes him, and I think he'll end up staying. But there are clubs, if he does end up going, that are interested in him, and some big clubs as well. They don't get much bigger than Juve, and that's got to be pretty impressive to a player that only 18 months ago couldn't really get in the first team. He went on loan, didn't he, to AC Milan, and now he's wanted by a host of clubs, including some of the biggest clubs in the world. So, as always, we'll keep you posted on that. Dalot, he's sort of become a little bit of an unsung hero, hasn't he, at Manchester United. He's just sort of gone about his business, done a really good job, got a good sort of relationship with these fellow defenders as well. That back four of Shaw, occasionally Malacia, but usually Shaw, Varane, Martinez and Dalot looks pretty settled. It looks like it can do the business. We have been linked. We have been linked with a couple of defenders. Been linked with Jeremy Frimpong and also Denzel Dumfries as well. So we have had interest in right back, but it seems to be more of a sort of backup as well, because at the moment in the right back spot, the other backup is Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who for whatever reason Erik ten Hag just doesn't fancy. I mean, he played him in the friendlies recently, but that was about it, wasn't it? And just on the Aaron Wan-Bissaka front as well, it looks like West Ham have moved to the front of the pecking order there. I think Romano was talking about this on one of his podcasts the other day, and it says that I had it yesterday on my news as well, and it just update says United are becoming aware of interest in Aaron Wan-Bissaka from West Ham. I think they're looking at a loan move there. Is that right? Yeah, they want a loan offer. Just like they did with Jesse Lingard not that long ago. Obviously, United paid quite a lot of money for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, didn't we? We paid 50 million quid for him. At the time, it was a lot, but it didn't feel like we'd massively overpaid because he was a good young defender who had a very good spell at Crystal Palace for a season and a bit. And initially at United, he did a very good job. People forget that, and I've seen people trying to rewrite history and saying, he's always been rubbish. He hasn't. He did very well at the beginning of his Manchester United career. The problem was that just didn't continue. It sort of petered out quite a lot, didn't it? He's and to the point now where he can't even get any minutes. I think he's had 4 minutes for the first team, not counting the friendlies, under Erik ten Hag, I think in the Premier League anyway. But yeah, he's not favoured, is he? He's not fancied for whatever reason. Erik ten Hag just doesn't want to use him, doesn't see him as an option. And maybe a loan move to West Ham, who obviously, decent club, would be the best thing all round. And I want Aaron Wan-Bissaka to get back on track, because I feel a little bit sorry for him. There's reports that he's struggling a little bit, and for whatever reason, he's just not happening for him at United. And a move to West Ham would make sense all round. Jay Frisconi says, Jay, great job as always. Frenkie de Jong is a fine midfielder, but I don't understand why Ten Hag is set on a player that seems to simply not want to play for United. What do you think, Jay? That's what I mean. I feel there must be something there. There must be a reason why we've carried on pursuing this midfielder. He must have indicated he is open to a move. Because if he said, I'm not coming to United, then why are we still interested in him? Why have we not gone, right, okay, that ain't happening? So, and also, because he knows the manager, there must be a way of getting a message to the manager. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm up for it. It just seems a little bit odd to me. Hit that like button, please. Let's smash a like, as they say, if you are watching this video. Ed says, the evolution of the right-back role dramatically changed in the last 4 years. Aaron Wan-Bissaka ain't been able to evolve with it. Ed also says, Juve will be Serie B next season. No chance of getting below. Yeah, they've got all sorts of issues, haven't they? Juve going on. Kimani W says, good morning from Louisiana. Bald brother Jay. Amir Vich says, Jay, you look fabulous this morning. I think some of you have been on the bit already this morning. Thank you for the compliments, though. Yeah, should we move on anyway? We'll keep you posted if anything does happen with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, or with Frenkie de Jong, or with Diogo Dalot. There's a lot of sort of contracts in a minute that are up in the air, so there's people going, is this one going to sign? Are we going to trigger an extension? All this sort of stuff, which is adding some sort of fuel to the fire that some of these players may be going. We've got another story here. Now, this one is about Marcus Thuram. Now, this is a kid who he's done well, hasn't he, really, at Gladbach. He's at Borussia Mönchengladbach. Didn't have the greatest season last season, but this season has been, very impressive. I think he's at 10 goals this season in the Bundesliga so far in 15 games. Obviously doing very well. Plays for France. He came on, didn't he, in the World Cup final. He's not a youngster. He's 25, so he's not a kid. But you can see there, it says here, United are interested in Thuram. According to a report by Builder, they're the German publication, aren't they? I think they're quite reputable. I think so anyway, but by all means, get involved in the chat. Let me know if I'm wrong. United are interested, in inverted commas, in signing Borussia Mönchengladbach and France striker Marcus Thuram in the upcoming January transfer window. United are planning to recruit a new striker next month after Ronaldo left. Thuram is out of contract at the end of the season and could, according to the report, be available for just 10 million. He's also generating interest from Arsenal. Now, I was looking at this, and it said, I think went on Builder, it said that they're already, Borussia Mönchengladbach are already sort of scouting replacements for him. They're already looking at bringing someone in to replace Thuram. So there seems to be something in this. Now, I don't know a lot about him. Obviously, saw him briefly, in the World Cup when he played there. His numbers look great. Let us know what you think. Is he the answer to us, to our problems? Is he a short-term answer? Is he someone you get in? If you got him in for 10 million and he can do a bit of a job, maybe he's an understudy to Anthony Martial. It kind of makes sense, that, to me. Because then it's almost like a tapping, isn't it? Because if he doesn't work out, then you've not spent a lot of money. It's not like you've hammered your budget. And also, if you do bring him in, and Martial knows a lot of ifs here, but if you do bring him in and Martial stays fit, then you need someone who is happy to be a backup to Anthony Martial, and you'd imagine Thuram is. I know he was in the French squad ahead of him, but you think that would be a role that suits him, so you can sort of rotate those ones and still have Martial as your main man. Whereas if you go out and you spend, I don't know, 70 million on Cody Gakpo, whatever, he's going to start in it. He's not going to be sat on the bench. Let us know what you think. How do you think that one could pan out? Is Thuram someone you're interested in? I don't know a lot about him. Like I said, his numbers are good. He looks all right in his cameos. Well, I saw him for France. Ian McCormack says an understudy to a lad who didn't make the France World Cup squad. But yeah, basically, I think if Martial is fit. I think he starts for Manchester United. I do. And I don't think if we buy Thuram for 10 million quid, he comes in ahead of him. Let us know in the chat and in the comments what you think. Josh D says, we need Gakpo. Ray Carl Brown Amore says, this is not a bad idea. Manchester Maverick says, morning, Jay Lad. Morning, bro. Hit that like button. Manchester Maverick also said his dad was amazing. Yeah, Lillian Thuram. Ed also says, Thuram mainly plays as a left winger and F9 role. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like every player we're linked with has his preferred position is on the left. So this could be someone else. Music Ali says, hey Jay, head looking extra shiny today. I've buffed it up special. I'd prefer Bellingham, but it seems more likely he wants to go to Liverpool. Yeah, there's been a lot of links with Bellingham and Liverpool. It looked like at one point United still had a good chance of getting him. It seems to have cooled down on the United front. I'd be very surprised now if United got Bellingham. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, especially with new owners coming in. The thing with the Bellingham situation, just talk brief on it before I move on, is there's so many different sort of caveats to this. He's linked with Liverpool. They're up for sale. So whoever comes in there, are they going to sanction a move for Bellingham? Because we're looking at rumours that the cost could be around 129 million quid. So obviously you need a big transfer budget. Do the new owners of Liverpool sanction that purchase? Are Liverpool in the Champions League next season? It's not a given they will be. They've had a bit of a patchy start to the season, to say the least. So they might not be. So that might be a factor as well. And now everything I've just said there, you can apply to Manchester United. We've got new owners. We should have new owners coming in. Are they going to sanction that sale? That buy? Are we going to be in the Champions League? And then the final sort of question is, which club does he prefer? It sounds like he wants to go to Liverpool. Okay, but does he want to go to Liverpool that much that if they didn't get in the Champions League, he'd still go there? And also, it doesn't matter whether he wants to go to Liverpool if Liverpool ain't got the 129 million quid it costs to buy him. So we'll have to wait and see with Bellingham. I don't think he's going to end up at Manchester United, personally. But it is not beyond the realms of possibility, especially when these big transfers are involved. Because the one thing you can say about Manchester United, I hate the Glazers and the Parasitic, and I'm not crediting them for this, but we do spend a lot of money on transfers. We do buy big transfers. 80 million on Maguire. What was it on Pogba? Like 89 million or something? 80 million-ish on Romelu Lukaku. 70 million on Angel Di Maria. We have spent a lot of money on transfers and buying, players for massive money. 100 million euros on Antony. It's not like United, the sort of club that go, well, we don't spend big money on players. We do. So if it was 120-odd million and we really wanted him, I think United could end up doing that. But would Liverpool? I mean, Liverpool, again, they don't tend to spend as much money on single players as United. I know they do overall, but they have spent like 75 million on Virgil van Dijk. Alisson was quite an expensive buy as well. And obviously, Darwin Núñez was. So they do it as well, but United have probably been a bit more consistent on that front. Let us know what you think in the chat and the comments anyway, because there's lots of ifs and buts and maybes. I mean, we don't even know what's going to happen there. Key Buckley, Anthony, 100 million for a traffic cone. I think Andy's done well. Music Ali says Kanate as well. Question mark. Should we move on to the next story anyway? Thuram, we'll keep you posted if anything happens with that one. Maybe we get him, maybe we don't. It kind of makes sense. United have a bid rejected for 15 million, 15-year-old wonder kid. According to a report by Ole, I don't think that's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think that's a publication. United have had a bid rejected by Ecuadorian side Independiente de Val for 15-year-old wonder kid Kendrick Paez, the club who produced Brighton and Hove Albion midfielder, and former United transfer Moises Caicedo is developing a reputation for developing exciting young players, and it's claimed that now, United wanted this 15-year-old, but we're not going to get him. I'm not going to start losing my mind about a player I literally never heard of until about 2 minutes ago. If we can't get him, we can't get him, we move on. Some 15-year-olds end up being amazing. They have the career you expect. Others, they do a bit of a Freddie Adu. Doesn't quite work out for them. Do you know what I mean? So, I'm one for getting annoyed when United don't get targets, but I'm not going to get annoyed about children I've never heard of. I think that's a good philosophy in life, to be honest with you. Don't forget, like I said, we're going to be in Dublin on the 30th of December. Come and join us for that. It's going to be me, McCullough, Chocky, Brian McClare, Stephen Howson, and Joe Smith, of course. We're going to have a really good time, and we'll see you there. There's a link in the chat. Click on that link. Come and join us. Come down on the 30th. We've also got more videos coming up, obviously. McCullough's going to be here, so we're going to have a few videos of him. Going to be looking towards the Burnley game as well. Burnley on Wednesday night, so we're going to be previewing that one. And obviously tomorrow night we'll have the watch along. Joe Smith will be back for that one as well. If you've not done as well, check out the 12 days of Paddock. Every year we do our Christmas giveaway. Am I going to... No. There you go. I always try and do that. I always make a mess of it. Where we give away prizes over the 12 days of Christmas, starting, I think, Christmas Eve. And then for the next 12 days, £500 is the big prize. You win that, you get £500 sent to you straight away. So get involved. That's for the members as well. Join the members. You get extra content. Plus, you get prizes. You get put in the draw for prizes. Sounds good. Listen, I'm going to wrap up there. Don't forget as well to hit like, share, and subscribe. I've been Jay. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.